Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. Our discussion today focuses on records information management compliance, which is important for so many reasons and its significance for national development. To explore what this is and all the benefits, we have with us Mrs. Alicia Lichmore, Senior Archivist with the Jamaica Archives and Records Department, JARD, the Government Records Center. Welcome to the program, Mrs. Lichmore.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's jump right into getting some facts.
Yes.
All right, so records information management. I'm going to call it RIM.
Yes.
RIM?
Yes.
Good. Okay,
RIM
so the RIM program. What is it?
Okay, so let me take you a little bit back. So the RIM program was really born out of the 2018 Cabinet-approved Records and Information Management Policy and Procedures Manual.
Okay.
Now, the RIM program is really to assist ministries, departments, and agencies with the implementation of the 2018 RIM policy. Now, JARD plays a role in that in terms of assisting the different ministry departments and agencies in implementing RIM, the RIM system within the various organizations.
Right.
So it's pretty much, just a step, different steps in the program that will allow you, right,
Okay.
that allows them to become compliant with the 2018 policy.
Ah.
Right.
So, okay. All right. So you mentioned the departments being compliant with the policy. But records information management, that's interesting. That's not something the average person thinks about. Like, how does that dovetail with Jamaica's developmental goals?
Well, the records and information management, especially the program, now it is so important to every individual and the entire Jamaica, as this now will allow for uniformity right across GOG.
Right.
Because what we had, Theo, is different ministry departments and agencies having different practices.
Yes.
And so to have, standardization right across GOG, the program will assist each ministry and department agencies in, having a uniform system where, everyone is practicing the same things and we don't have, the different variations across government.
Okay.
Now, the RIM program and RIM itself,
Right.
we support transparency, good governance, and effective public service.
Transparency.
Right, which is in alignment, with the Vision 2030. So it also supports, Goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and Goal 9, that speaks to industry, innovation, and infrastructure.
Right. And so we're saying, there are two things in my head right now, transparency, and I want to come back to that.
Yes.
But industry and innovation, we're saying that with a standardized system,
Correct.
with a standardized way of collecting and storing data, then
Right.
industries can grow. and
Yes,
economy
from
can grow.
creation to disposition. So, we have to think about, how we dispose of records
Right.
when we reach to that, stage of
Okay.
the cycle. So the RIM program, essentially assists ministry departments and agencies in doing this.
Got it. Transparency. Talk to me a little bit about that. Why is that important?
Well, it's important, and especially with the 2022 Access to Information Act.
Ah, yes.
Right, that transparency where, you want to ensure that, the public have access to certain government institutions, that some of them, we're not privy to.
Okay.
All right. So for transparency, again, good information governance is important in order to have transparency, because if you don't have your records organized in a systematic way, then that will have some challenges for transparency.
Right, and then that has some bearing on how the public interacts with their government.
Correct.
Right. So you want the government to be open to interaction and people to be able to find information.
Yes.
Ah.
Right. In a timely manner.
In a timely manner.
In a timely
That's
manner.
important.
Yes,
That's
very important.
And I can also assume that there are some practical benefits. For example, if we're interacting with RGD and then the tax office, you're saying RIM, the idea behind the RIM Act is to standardize the data and the interactions between these agencies.
Correct.
Less trouble for me as the
Less trouble for you and less time waiting for the information that you require.
Right. So, okay. So various programs and sub-programs we've heard have been designed to support the goals of RIM. Can you tell us a little bit about these programs?
Well, just a little bit in terms of the administration of the Access to Information Act.
Right.
Which, again, speaks to transparency and access to government records. right? It supports RIM, and RIM supports that initiative. Also, there are some programs by eGov Jamaica, which is looking at digital transformation of the different ministry departments and agencies, right? And it also supports having, you know, the different cloud computing and storage for different ministry departments and agencies. So, you know, we get some support, and we're in dialogue with eGov Jamaica in terms of having, you know, a whole a standard system for GOJ in terms of having electronic records management in terms of, you know, one system that all of GOJ uses. But we're not quite, you know, there yet. But, you know, those are plans in this pipeline, you know, to collaborate with eGov to have a system in place for all of government.
Right, that's a bit of an innovation for us, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Digitization of records. Is there any push for the access to that information to also be digital?
Well, Theo, yes, that is where we want to go. But right now, most ministry departments and agencies are still at the manual implementation of RIM. And again, the manual implementation of RIM is very important because, again, if we don't have things in order, then we cannot move to a digital space.
Manual implementation meaning?
Right. So we're ordering the records that we have in paper format.
Okay.
Right. And
know what you have, know where it is.
Right. And know what we don't need anymore. Right. And so when we move to a digital space, then we'll be moving with, you know, things that, you know, we definitely need to, you know, to meet the needs of our clients.
Right. So we're not moving with anything that we don't need. I like that you highlighted that.
Right.
So, okay, can you give me a picture of the future? What's the ideal implementation of RIM? The ideal Jamaica with RIM working?
Well, the ideal implementation is for very short, you know, response time in terms of producing same days, maybe 1 minute, 12 minutes, right? In getting information. So, you know, to have a really centralized, digitized records repositories, right, with a strong infrastructure, ITC infrastructure, you know, would be, you know, very, you know, important for RIM for the future. You know, so having those things in place as well as retention schedules, you know, that, you know, everybody's on the same page in terms of how long we keep records for and so on, you know, would also be very, you know, effective in having a robust infrastructure, you know, the ideal infrastructure for RIM.
Yeah.
Right.
I love how you're pointing out the wait times. I'm just visioning what a hospital visit would be like. We mentioned the RGD, we mentioned tax office with RIM fully implemented.
Yes.
That's
right.
That's a beautiful vision.
Yes, it's a beautiful vision. And so, you know, that's why even at this point we're encouraging those ministry departments and agencies that are not yet on board to get on board with the RIM program.
All right, we want to talk a bit more about the agencies and them getting on board more fully in 2025, but we're going to go to a short break at this moment. Please stay with us.
Are you an entertainer looking to refine your skills? This is the T for you. The Tourism Entertainment Academy is now open and is looking for people like you.
The Tourism Entertainment Academy is no longer a concept. It is a living, breathing, transformational initiative designed to empower creatives, enrich the Jamaican cultural experience, and reaffirm our rightful place as a global powerhouse of culture and creativity.
If you're passionate about reggae, jazz, or comedy, this is your opportunity to train with industry professionals and gain real-world performance experience. Apply now at tef.gov.jm/T and submit a 3 to 5 minute video showcasing your talent. Fill out the application form and include your video. You must be 18 years or older to apply, and for now must be living in the parishes of St. James, Trelawney, or Hanover. It's the Tourism Entertainment Academy. Apply now and step into your future.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. Our discussion continues on records information management with Mrs. Alicia Litchmore, Senior Archivist at the Jamaica Archives and Records Department, JARD. I'm happy you let me know that it was JARD.
Yes.
Because in the intro I said JRD,
yes.
but JARD is good. Very
Right.
catchy.
Yes.
All right, so Lady Litchmore, we have an interesting workplace
Yes.
in Jamaica today.
Yes.
With the advent of COVID, we moved online.
Right.
And then when we were finished with COVID, some came back in person, others didn't. So now we have this hybrid workplace.
Right.
Does RIM take that into account?
Well, each institution should take that into account. Right?
Okay.
Because again, we must remember, we must care for electronic records, in the same manner that we do for manual records. So yes, there would have been, information generating electronically.
Right.
And so we must ensure that the bridge, there's a gap, we bridge the gap as it relates to the manual systems that we have and the electronic system, creating the hybrid. So the same policies, in terms of having a retention schedule on our electronic records and so on, we should ensure that we have those in place for our hybrid records or electronic records as well. And each worker or employee should understand their role in compliance and ensuring compliance, right? This is proper information governance.
Right.
So each person, we are all creating records daily, and we are responsible for the records that we generate, right? And so we must ensure that we care and, protect our records, in accordance to the relevant policies and procedures. And we should ensure that wherever there are breaches in the system, they are reported promptly.
Breaches in the system.
Yes.
And so that's standing right beside the word compliance in my head.
Correct.
So there's a legal recourse to the records information management policy?
Well, there are reputational damages for, the institutions. You have your integrity lost in integrity of your information. And, there are penalties, legal penalties as well, that you could derive from not adhering to the records and information management policy and legislations that exist, right? And so it's important for every ministry, department, and agency, and by extension, the wider Jamaica, to ensure that there is compliance, as it relates to how information is governed. So, you look at the Archives Act and the ISO 15489 that deals with records and information management. And there are other, data protection and other policies that govern how we should treat with our information assets. And so, if an institution or all institutions adhere to these, policies and legislations, then, we would not have an issue really, but we know that that's in the ideal world, And so we're hoping to get there one day. But, we are, doing it incrementally.
What happened? So, right in our first segment, you spoke about getting the ministries and the agencies to be compliant. What happens after that step? Like what's the roadmap?
Right. So really and truly, what happens, and a ministry, department, or agency may express an interest to be on the program, because we have about 279 different ministry and agencies. So, JARD does not have the capacity to really accommodate everybody, right now. But what we do when a ministry, department, or agency expresses an interest to be a part of the program, then we do some checks to see, if they are ready. So we have to look at the readiness of the institution to be on the program. So, for example, when we speak of readiness, we are speaking of in terms of what is the physical infrastructure, in that organization. Do you have a RIM manager? Do you have a team for the implementation?
So JARD does like an audit.
So a little check, to see where you are as an institution. So there has been cases where we have asked, different ministries, departments, and agencies to put certain things in place before they are onboarded to the GOJ program, right? Because again, it doesn't make any sense to come on the program if you do not have the resources to be offboarded.
Understood.
Right? Yes.
So, Lady Litchmore, everybody's talking about two-letter word, AI. You mentioned the cloud infrastructure that's being built up, especially in relation with GOJ. Is there any part of RIM that involves artificial intelligence?
Well, AI is still relatively new to us. You know, we have been exploring, you know, how we can use AI in, you know, in records and information management. So we think about the classification of records and the extraction of data. But again, you know, this is still something that we're exploring in terms of RIM to see, you know, how we can use this to better the RIM system, you know, for more efficiency and effectiveness.
So then, would I be correct in saying then that right now, looking at the future, we are still working out what the final and ideal electronic RIM system will look like?
Well, yes, the addition, because you know, things change.
Right.
And, you know, AI wasn't around a couple of years ago, and now it's here. And so, you know, we have to, you know, just keep expanding and keep looking at the possibilities, right, in terms of how we can use whatever is made available to us via technology to improve the RIM systems.
Got it. We're almost at the end, but I have to ask this. How does JARD deal with compliance checks? Because say you get onto the program, how do you keep?
Well, Theo, you know, that is something that we're still working on. To be honest, you know, the resources are few.
Right.
And so we have not been able to be out in the ministry departments and agencies as we would have liked to in terms of doing the compliance checks. But we do have our analyst who goes out to the different ministry departments and agencies and would point out, you know, things that are not in compliance and ask for them to be fixed and so on from time to time. But in terms of having, you know, all 279, you know, I think it's approximately 279 ministry departments and agency. We haven't been able to be reaching everybody right now, but that is our dream and our aspiration, right, to touch everybody right across GOJ, you know, eventually. But we do work with our different ministry departments and agency in this regard, and we must say that, you know, some persons have been really cooperative in terms of getting, you know, or being in compliance with the GOJ RIM policy and have been working tirelessly to fix the different systems within their organizations.
Got it. Not much time left, so
yes.
Last thing. I understand that April is RIM month.
Yes.
What is happening in RIM month?
Well, for RIM month, you know, we have a lot going on, right? So we started with an online, you know, launch of it where we had a message from our acting government archivist, Mrs. Princess Gordon Kamok. And we also have a RIM display competition going on where the different ministries, departments, and agencies, you know, can showcase their innovativeness or their talents and skills, you know, in terms of preparing their displays and so on. So the winner will be announced at the end of RIM month.
What they're getting?
It's a secret, right? But the winner will get a prize at the end. The winning entity will get a prize at the end of RIM month. You know, we have also been busy with our TikTok videos and so on, where we had some of the off-boarded ministries who are now in compliance with the GOJ 2018 Records and Information Management Policy, you know, doing their thing on TikTok. That will be out soon, as well as some entities that are now onboarded on the program. We do have some TikTok videos with them as well, you know, who are on it, encouraging other MDAs to get on board. So we're hoping that, you know, when the others see, they will, you know, be encouraged to join and, you know, be in compliance as well.
Well, all the best with RIM month.
Thank you so much. And I must mention, we have the training of professionals coming up, RIM professionals. Yes, on the 23rd, we have that coming up for RIM month, and that will be online. So we'll, you know, be able to reach a lot of persons right across Jamaica. And so we're encouraging everybody to look out. We'll be sending out the link and, yes, the details of that RIM training.
Great. Keep that in mind as we go through RIM month. The 23rd is training. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest was Mrs. Alicia Lichmore, Senior Archivist with the Jamaica Archives and Records Department, JARD. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.